What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and today we're reviewing The Mandalorian, Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. A couple seconds in, and there's already the best dialogue for the Western kind of deal, or maybe outlaw movies. It's got the "Maybe I'll Let You Live," and alongside the Mandalorian's like, "Come on, come on, come on," doing that one thing. And like the best one for the moment's like the I could bring you in warm, I could bring you in cold, which is something I only say to my ice cream while I'm like driving it back, but it's like in an emergency, like I'm in an ambulance. I usually make it, but it's still a worrisome trip. But it's Armando, so there's also the those moments where it looks like he's on a roller coaster, but he's like in the cockpit. To the audience, he's like, "Hold on," and then he ends the whole dogfight with "That's my line." The whole exchanges between these two voices is pretty awesome in my opinion. Makes you wonder if they just kept that same kind of tone. Everything they would say is like pretty like intense and epic, but I'd like to think it's just like certain phrases. Otherwise, it sounds about normal. I want to look up the guy that screams after his ship gets shot up, but I feel like I would just naturally come across that same voice actor again. And it always seems like the those people in the orange or yellow orange suits seem to be pretty alright as a character, like even like a background person that everyone likes putting in there. I think it was like Andor, like some guy with a blonde beard, with, about the same thing on without the face covering. Maybe that's just one of those things, like a maintenance jumpsuit or something. That's actually from some real thing, not a Star Wars reference. Kind of like nowadays, there's a bunch of kids that really like trucks, but only if they end up waking up alone for a while and the trash truck comes and they hear that reversing sound. But it was for this uniform. It was just like all in the back of their heads. Some place they all saw them, like when they were little. Maybe they remembered who they were and what they were doing, but they had an opportunity to put it into a TV show as a like a jumpsuit for a starfighter or something, so they did. It wasn't like quite a favorite outfit, but there's also some traits and qualities that came along with it. It's a good moment to do up a memory or just a idea in your head of certain things. To have another one alongside it, not even just to grow from that one, because it would be the single one if it was just like continually growing and evolving. But bringing up all that Western stuff, I guess the Razor Crest does kind of look like a wagon compared to the other ships. The other ones, I guess, would be like a horse, just the horse. Maybe a little stagecoach, even though I think I'm using the wrong word for that one. I think everyone I knew called it a wagon anyway. So in this episode, we get to see why anyone in the desert is alone, pretty much, and they're on Tatooine, but in general, it kind of looks like a rule for areas that kind of look like that. While you're watching it, doesn't seem like there's a lack of things to watch and experience. But at the end, while I was trying to like think about what to say about it, I found myself just like thinking about like literally like seeing through their eyes and stuff like that. It's easy to get into perspective of the characters that are on screen. And with the Mandalorian, like, he doesn't say an awful amount. So it's not like, oh, what would he say here? What would he do here? You pretty much know. So you're pretty much right there with him. Like, even when the turn of events changed the whole outcome of what we were expecting from the beginning, which is a pretty awesome effect, seeing how complicated certain things could go, even. But Tatooine is apparently one of those places like on the way to like any given popular spot, and it's probably the most well known besides Coruscant. Not that I could try to be the tour guide here, but a lot of the stuff in Star Wars Galaxy seems to happen near it, and they end up going there. But the Mandalorian lands, and we meet Peli. She's like the only one that still can rock that hair she has. It's that like '90s big hair, but it's not like shiny looking, so it looks like she can have it like on any given day mostly. And she has three pit droids that she plays off of pretty pretty well than most people trying to speak to a droid that's not speaking any like known language. That's just the beeping or like the little rotary sounds. She seems to accost the Mandalorian for whatever happened before he landed, and then insists on a pretty gnarly bill to help him with the ship. Because maybe at first it looks like she can get paid a good amount, but while he's out looking for a job to get paid for, the little green guy waddles out and she meets him, and Peli is pretty taken aback by the general presence of a child. So it kind of looks like that one points with her, because it seems to be she's a pretty good person to have in one of your wings. She kind of does that thing where it's like she's trying to say something kind of like malicious to the baby, but not really meaning it. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, I'm gonna watch you, and when the Mandalorian gets back, I'm gonna charge him extra. It's like, yeah, I'm like booping him on the nose. How's that sound, Bright Eyes? But really, she's like, oh, okay, some normal person. It's like, I could handle someone with like part of a family or what seems to be something like that. She pulls out this like elephant gun looking like boomstick looking rifle when she thought it was like a normal sized person or some dangerous adult just walking out of the Razor Crest. But they seem to be good enough characters, and the pacing seems to be alright enough or varied enough to be the only like 4 or 5 like people like in the show or episode. But while Pele's hang out with pit droids and the little green guy, there's the simultaneous cut that's supposed to be where it kind of looks like it's supposed to be happening at the same time, but it kind of has to be lined up. So occasionally, to me, it looks like they had to just like do one after another, but it could have just been happening at the same time. Where the Mandalorians meeting Toro Calican, which I would like to mention is another person that would be a. It, they all this whole episode would have been like just fine as a animated episode, just because of all their voices. Toro Calican's voice, the Mandalorian's voice, even the bartender's voice, along with Pele Moto. It's like all these like memorable voices like echoing from some part of your mind that seems to agree that this is a dependable voice to listen to. Or even a voice you've heard before, but they didn't say that much. I always wonder because it's like, oh, like some of them are like deeper or like softer or like soft and loud, but you can't ever like put a finger on certain ones to why it's like embedding itself in your memory so well. But Toro proposes they both go get this person in the bounty puck, Fennec Shand, with another one of those voices I would like to mention. But not too long after that, there's a start with the Mandalorian and Peli with about the green baby. Just further going along with not really trusting anybody around, but she does about the same thing as she goes outside with the Mandalorian, and they both are faced with Toro. And he tries to talk to her, but off on the speeders they go. They find a down bounty hunter unrelated to their party, and there's some good shootout action before finally Fennec Shand's pinned down and has to cuff herself looking down a barrel. I would describe the thing with the flashbangs and after sundown thing, but it's much better if you just do yourself the favor and just go enjoy the episode again. But during the tussle, they lost one of the land speeders, so they go back to get the dewback. So it's that the other bounty hunter was riding, and Fennec Shan's trying to turn Toro against the Mandalorian because he was the rogue bounty guy from in Navarro, and that rumor has already made its way around, so everyone's like aware of some Mandalorian with a child target that he was supposed to turn in, trying to do some two timing, but eventually Toro's like, oh, okay, better idea, and he just needs to get into the guild. So he's trying to start out legendary, which is always like a bad idea, but and he rewards her for the information with the blaster to the gut, and he goes to Hangar Bay 35 for him to be blinded by another one of the flash bang things that they used earlier against Fennec Shand. Oh, ironies of ironies. And like it's a good idea to hold a child hostage against anybody. So Peli's safe, and the our little green guy is safe, and the Mandalorian does some looting off of Toro's body, and he's squared off. Nice and easy for this episode, and everyone managed to look very clean, regardless. It was just a pit stop for the Mandalorian, but at least there's Peli now. Each of the episodes, like there was a one assisting character. Last one was Cara Dune. Before that, it was like the pack of Mandalorians, and then there was the I've spoken guy, Kui, and the very first one was the assassin droid that was helping him, even though he shot him down. I think I like uh, Peli like the best so far, just off like just the presentability in the show. Cara Dune was probably the best looking. And there's like whys, and there's like other things you'd say about the other characters, like walking them through like whatever it is. But this one was the funnest one for me so far. Hope you come and watch the next one with me. Chapter 6, The Prisoner. Looks like there's going to be a lot of attitude in that one, so I hope you do. There's a lot of things to go through together, so. But I hope you thought the same. This was Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. And if no one told you yet, you look good, and it shows.